auspicious day of PANI HATI festival, and I'm also grateful for your audience. We'll start with a beautiful verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Chandrera Kripa Hanache Inhare Chaitanya Chandrera Batul Ke Rakhite Pare. So here, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has fully bestowed his mercy on Raghunath Goswami. Who can keep him home? Such a madman of Chaitanya Chandra. So this verse we'll see is being said by Raghunath's father when Raghunath was trying to escape from his home. We'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Agyan Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Miletam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padikamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayitai Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vigyana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojjvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murte Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Pap Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murte Vipralambara Sambodhe Padam Bhujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravirbhav Mistvam Nirdishta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhaumaha Jagannathayate Namaha Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauritashe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavtaram Bhaktyakam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Jayatam Surata Pangor Mama Manda Matirgati Matsarvasva Padambhojau Shri Radha Madana Mohanau Divyad Vrindaranai Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnagar Simhasanastau Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devau Preshthalivi Sevyamanau Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamshi Vata Tatasthatha Karshan Venur Swanir Gopir Gopinathaya Shristana Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhi Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shavasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Thank you so much for joining. Please kindly bestow your blessings upon me so that I can speak and glorify this beautiful pastime, which is not just very sweet, but also very, very instructive in its own way. So please bestow blessings upon me so that I can do some justice to this topic of PANI HATI festival. So before we actually come to the festival of, we would just like to go briefly into the life of Srila Raghunath Goswami. So we have this Sambandh Acharya, who is Srila Sanatana Goswami. Without proper relationship, we cannot establish our love towards the Supreme Lord. Love will manifest if the relationship is correct. So we take mercy of Srila Sanatana Goswami. Then when our relationship is established, we undergo a process which is given by Rupa Goswami in his Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction. And so we consider Rupa Goswami as our Abhidheya Acharya, and the deities are Radha Govinda. And then ultimately, the personality will be really glorifying today would be Raghunath Das Goswami. He's a Prayojan Acharya, and his worshipable deities are Radha Gopinath. Prayojan means the goal. So he basically enacts his activities in such a way as how we should enact our activities in a perfected state. So much absorption in the Lordship, so much absorption in the devotee's service. That's what Raghunath Das Goswami exemplifies, and the real renunciation, and so many other beautiful qualities that we will see through this pastime of a PANI HATI festival. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, and all the associates, including even Ramchandra Puri, is actually eternal associate of the Lord in Krishna Lila, in the spiritual world. And they've all come here to assist the Lord and teach all of us what it means to be a devotee, what it means to act or conduct ourselves in a perfected state. So that's what we're going to see briefly, which is just a small portion of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Entire Chaitanya Charitamrita is very instructive. It's not just sweet, it's not just simple, but it's very, very instructive, very deep of how we should conduct ourselves in the family of Vaishnavas, in the devotees. So Raghunath Das Goswami happened to meet Lord Chaitanya in Shantipur when Lord Chaitanya was going to Vrindavan. So on his way to Vrindavan, he stopped by at Shantipur, which is the place of Advaita Acharya, and then he continued his journey there. And Raghunath Das Goswami had this great desire to leave his family life. He was actually born in Shri Krishnapura, and he was the son of a very rich person. So he was very, very opulent in his upbringing, but he had no attraction for it, simply no attraction. He was just simply attracted by Lord Chaitanya, and he wanted to join his party physically and wanted to do something. But Lord Chaitanya asked him to stay with his family. He asked him that, just as a girl who is in love with someone else, she tries to stay at home and does her duties perfectly. So similarly, you try to absorb yourself in Krishna's pastimes, but act in the family life, And Lord Chaitanya also wanted us to understand that premature renunciation is very, very dangerous. If we prematurely renounce our activities, renounce our family life, it may be troublesome. And there are so many examples of that. As we know, one devotee wanted to chant 192 rounds like Thakur Haridas, but Srila Prabhupada said, no, but he still went his way and he couldn't sustain for long. He was lost. He was completely lost. So similarly, premature renunciation, even in Bhagavad Gita, is described as very chaotic. It causes a lot of chaos in the society. It's just not for the society, but in one's own life can cause chaos. For example, if my heart is in a very big house, then I'm not satisfied, then I'm not peaceful. And so my thoughts will again and again go to that big house. So even though if I may be in the renounced order where I should be thinking about Kṛṣṇa, I will not be thinking about Kṛṣṇa. It's better that I stay in a comfortable place and then think of Kṛṣṇa, because ultimately we have to remember Kṛṣṇa and never forget Kṛṣṇa. So therefore, Raghunath Das Goswami was instructed by Lord Chaitanya that you go back to your family, live very nicely, live as a very responsible man, responsible son, and continue your duties. At the same time, be absorbed in Kṛṣṇa. So Raghunath Das Goswami was very humble, and he didn't propose, he didn't object to Lord Chaitanya's advice, and he went back very peacefully. And he was inwardly completely renounced, even in his family life, which was very comfortable. There were many servants, there was beautiful wife, but he was completely renounced. So real renunciation is actually when we have everything and still our thoughts are with Kṛṣṇa. That is actually real renunciation. So Raghunath Das Goswami depicted that. So he was acting very ordinarily. He was acting as if he's a pound and shilling person, helping his father in the business. So once Raghunath Das Goswami received this message that Lord Chaitanya has returned from Mathura city, that he had gone to Vrindavan and he's now back. So he became very restless. He was like, now I really want to see Lord Chaitanya. Now I really want to join him. So what should I do? What should I do? That time something happened in his home that his uncle, Hiranyadas, they were actually supposed to collect taxes and they're supposed to pay a certain amount to the government. But he was keeping certain amount in his own pocket. He was not giving full amount to the government. He was keeping extra amount in his pocket. So one Muslim guy, he got upset. He got envious. He's like, why is this happening, And so Hiranyadas, who was Raghunath's uncle, like his father's older brother, he had left the home and his father was also gone. And this Muslim person came with a minister, government minister, and he arrested Raghunath Das Goswami. And because Raghunath Das Goswami was from Kayast community, those who are very influential in the society, they were very intelligent. And so he was very afraid to beat Raghunath. He desired to beat Raghunath when he arrested and punished, but he always chastised verbally instead of beating, though he had the desire. And every time he would see Raghunath's face, his mind would change. That's what his condition was. So he verbally chastised, bring your uncle, bring your father, what is this going on? Then finally Raghunath said, my dear sir, please see that, my father and my uncle are like your brothers. And brothers sometimes fight. When they fight, for what they fight, it's not certain. Today you're fighting, tomorrow you may be friends. Why do you want to fight? You're like brothers. And because you're all like brothers, I'm like your son. So why should you arrest your son? Or why should you're supposed to be a maintainer. So you should not, chastise me or punish me when you're supposed to protect me and maintain me. You're my superior, you're my uncle. So then that Muslim's fellows, he became so softened up. He started crying and crying. He was like, yeah, you're like my son. I should not do this to you. So he said, okay, I'll leave you today. But you arrange a meeting with your uncle and your father and, ask them to give me also some share. whatever they're keeping extra in the pocket, please ask them to also give me some share. We'll chat. Whatever they will decide, whatever amount they will decide, I will be happy. Don't worry about that. So please arrange this meeting. So that's how Raghunath, somehow helped his father in the business, helped his uncle in the business in some way or the other. And the days went by. So this way, 1 year had passed, since Lord Chaitanya returned from Vrindavan. And Raghunath was again now contemplating, how should I get away? How should I get away? He was thinking about leaving the home. But once he tried, his father caught him. And then he was put under guard. So many watchmen were kept, and he used to sleep in the outside place, not in the home, but at a Durga Mandap, where the Lord Goddess Durga was worshipped. He used to sleep there, and all the guards would be watching him over the night, that he should not escape. So he tried again and again, and father kept stopping him. So one day, Raghunath's mother said, "Why don't you bind him? Bind him with ropes and keep him here. Then there'll be no worry of, him running away again and again." So then his father said, see, these physical ropes, what can they do? More than these physical ropes, the stronger ropes are the subtle ropes of attachment. We have so much wealth. He has such a beautiful wife, as if from the celestial world. But he's not attracted. His mind is not there. What can we do? Even the subtle ropes have failed. What can these physical ropes do? So therefore, Lord Raghunath Das Goswami's attention was always on Lord Chaitanya. How can I go there? How can I go there? He was so determined. So he was trying to find out different ways to go out. Similarly, there was example given by one devotee, and he was telling that once they asked one young boy that you become a brahmachari in the temple, become a brahmachari, your parents have 4 sons. So it would be a big, you won't be worried about who will take care of them and at all. It's so easy for you. Just take this ashram. He said that, no, my parents will not, agree. They will disagree and all that. So then this devotee said, okay, I'll talk to your parents. And he explained to the parents, you have 4 sons. If 4th one will go and worship the deities in the temple, serve the devotees, then all your entire generations will be delivered. So things like that he told and convinced them. And they said, okay, yeah, we don't have any problem. He can become a brahmachari. When they came to that boy, they said, yes, that I can become a brahmachari. You know what? I'm not ready for it. So I don't want to be a brahmachari. I was just, goofing around and things like that. I just told my parents are not agreeing, just like that. So eventually the point is that, in the essence that, where our mind is, our heart is, there we are. So the brahmachari, he was not ready. So there was no determination. If he was ready, he wouldn't give the, the excuse of his parents. He would just find out somewhere or the other, he would, find out and join the temple. So Raghunath Das Goswami was determined, eager to see Lord Chaitanya. And then his father ultimately said the verse that we started with, Chaitanya Chandrera Kripa Hanache in Hare, Chaitanya Chandrera Batul Ke Rakhite Pare. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has fully bestowed his mercy on him. Who can keep home such a madman of Chaitanya Chandra? So if we want the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, if we want the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, then we have to act like Raghunath Das Goswami, so eager, so eager. Then Raghunath Das Goswami started thinking, what should I do? What should I do? Why am I not getting the mercy of Lord Chaitanya? Why am I not able to detangle myself from this family life? Why? And then he thought, maybe I should meet Nityananda Prabhu. So the important lesson is that so far Raghunath Das Goswami was trying to get to Lord Chaitanya by himself. He didn't take the help of Guru. Nityananda Prabhu is non-different from Guru. He's the source of all the Gurus, Guru Tattva. So he went to Nityananda Prabhu to see him. And the next day, so he went to this village of PANI HATI. where he met Nityanand Prabhu. Nityanand Prabhu was sitting on a rock on the bank of the Ganges, and he was so effulgent, so effulgent. It was as if like thousands of suns have arisen all together. It was so beautiful. And all the devotees were sitting around Nityanand Prabhu. So many associates of Nityanand Prabhu were sitting, and seeing the influence of Nityanand Prabhu, Raghunath Das Goswami was astonished. It was like, wow, this is just amazing, simply wonderful. And Raghunath Das, out of humility, he started offering his obeisances to the Lord from a very distant place. Behind the tree he was hiding. He was watching the entire scene, Lord Nityananda with his associates on this beautiful backdrop of Mother Ganges, and he started offering obeisances. Then some servant of Nityanand Prabhu said, "Oh, look, there's Raghunath. He's offering you obeisances." Then Nityanand Prabhu said, "Shuni Prabhu kahe chora dili darashana, aya aya aji tora karimu dandana." Hearing this, Lord Nityanand Prabhu said, "You are a thief. Now you have come to see me. Come here, come here. Today I shall punish you." So Nityanand Prabhu is being described as funny and merciful in the very next verse, that Nityanand Prabhu is funny and merciful. So he's be acting funny, and he said, "You're a thief, just like thief offer, they always stay distant. They are like hiding from behind some object or tree or structure. Similarly, you're acting. So you come here, I will punish you today." So it is also explained that now that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually property of Nityanand Prabhu. He is his dearmost property. So Guru can give us Kṛṣṇa. So far, Raghunath was trying to get all by himself. But this time, when he approached Nityanand Prabhu, the Guru, he said, "Oh, you were trying to take my property without my permission? I will punish you." So then, still Raghunath immediately didn't go near to the Lord. He was still standing. So the Lord came and forcibly took him. "You come here." And he gave his beautiful blessings in the form of, he kept his lotus feet on the head of Raghunath. Nityanandaram ki jai. So if we want Nityanand Prabhu's mercy, we have to act like Raghunath Das Goswami. So again, Nityanand Prabhu said, "You're just like a thief. For instead of coming near, you stay away at a distant place. Now that I've captured you, I shall punish you." Dadi chida bhakshana karaha muragane, shuni anandit thaile Raghunath mane. "Make a festival and feed all my associates yogurt and chipped rice." Hearing this, Raghunath Das was greatly pleased. So you see, this was the punishment of Lord Nityananda, that Raghunath Das is supposed to feed all the associates of Nityanand Prabhu with chipped rice and yogurt. So now the time when Raghunath Das Goswami met Nityanand Prabhu, it is supposed to be very hot. Now we know in June. In India, it's very, very hot, very humid. So therefore, the most cooling stuffs were offered. So yogurt and chipped rice. Now, chipped rice is a very, very, very cheap product. It's not so expensive. We know Sudama Vipra also carried it to Kṛṣṇa, chipped rice, handful of chipped rice, which were also very old, eaten by rats in Kṛṣṇa Leela. But here, Raghunath Das Goswami, he thinks of this proposal. He understands this proposal of Nityanand Prabhu. "Oh, Nityanand Prabhu wants me to feed his associates. Nityanand Prabhu wants me to feed him and make a festival." He was so grateful, so grateful. He wanted to do it. He was very, very eager to do some service. So therefore, it's being described. His heart was filled with bliss. He was so pleased. So similarly, we are also supposed to be pleased when we get the opportunity to serve devotees. We should not make excuses if they are not genuine. We have to make a little endeavor, go out of our way to serve devotees. Because if we have the mercy of the devotees, then the Lord's mercy is naturally there. So we have to be grateful like Raghunath Das Goswami. He didn't say, "Oh, how can I feed so many people? How money will come? Where will be the ingredients be coming from? I will have to get it. Who will help me? So much ingredients. No, nothing. Just Lord Nityananda said one thing and he followed. So he immediately went because he was rich. He had some servants with him also. And he went to the village. He purchased all the ingredients, best of the ingredients, first class ingredients for the festival. He bought chipped rice, yogurt, milk, sweetmeats, sugar, bananas of very high quality called chanpakala and other eatables. And they got it at the site. Then there were some brahmanas. As soon as they heard that, oh, the festival is being organized, so many people came, so many brahmanas came. And when those brahmanas came, they were not like, festival is being organized, we should just sit and honor it. You know, we are the brahmanas. But no, they came together, they started pulling all the ingredients together, they got the earthen pots, they took the chipped rice, put it into the hot milk, then took half of that chipped rice, put it in the condensed milk, and then the rest half was put in the yogurt with sugar. So that's how they got lots of earthen pots, big earthen pots, small earthen pots, so many wonderful ingredients, and everybody started preparing the festival. Then Nityananda Prabhu dressed himself well and he sat on the platform with his most important associates. He sat. There were Ramadas, Sundaranand, Gadadhar Das, Murari, Kamlakar, Sadashiv, Purandara, Jagadish, Gauri Das, Hoda Krishna Das, Dhananjaya, Jagadish, Mahesh, Parmeshwar Das. There were so many other. Udran Dutt Thakur came. And these are all cowherd boys from the spiritual world, from Krishna Loka. They're all cowherd boys. They all sat around Nityananda Prabhu on that platform. And then the serving of these beautiful items started. First, it was presented to the Lord, and then to all the devotees it was offered. And everybody who came there was given 2 pots, 2 small earthen pots. One pot contained chipped rice with yogurt, and the other pot contained chipped rice with condensed milk. And some people sat on the platform. So some people took the platform with Lord Nityananda Prabhu. The other didn't get the place, so they sat on the banks of the river Ganges. And still others who didn't get the space, they went into the river and dipped themselves and were holding 2 pots and like eating prasad. So they were not like, oh, we didn't get the place, just walk out of this place, this is a big mess. No, they just made their way and took the 2 pots, clay pots, and they went into the water and enjoyed the chipped rice. And when this was happening, Raghav Pandit, who is actually Champak Lata in the spiritual world, one of the gopis, one of the main gopis, arrived at the scene. And he was looking at this festival, like, who does festival with chipped rice and yogurt? You know, festival means gulab jamuns, festival means different paneer items, different dals, rice, chipped rice and yogurt. Who does that? When he came, he saw the scene, everybody eating with 2 pots. He laughed and he went to Lord Nityananda Prabhu and he said, hey, I cooked so much prasadam for you and offered to the deity and was waiting for you. See, I got so much prasad cooked in ghee for you. Why? What should I do with this? Then Nityananda Prabhu said, bring it all here. I will first finish this yogurt rice and then yogurt and chipped rice, and then I will eat all your offerings. We are like cowherd boys. We will eat, we will enjoy. I like to do all this picnic stuff with my boyfriends. So he said like that, bring it, bring all of it here. We will eat. And that's how Raghav Pandit laid down all his, and then Raghav Pandit was offered, oh, you take these 2 clay pots and enjoy the yogurt and chipped rice feast. And so these are all beautiful associates of the Lord. So they're in the mood of cowherd boys. So then they don't know any rules and regulations. Nityananda Prabhu was also supposed to be like renunciate, but he was mostly Avadut, and he was also in the mood of Balaram. And when he saw all his associates, close cowherd boyfriends around him, he became absorbed in that ecstatic love of the spiritual world. So he wanted to enjoy, no formalities, no rules and regulations, just eat as much as they can. So then when everybody had gotten the their respective bowls of chipped rice, Lord Nityananda summoned Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through his meditation. Sri Nityananda Prabhu would always eat with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So even if they were not physically together, he would meditate and make space for the Supreme Lord by his side and would invite him to have prasadam with him. So even this time, this is what happened, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was summoned. And when he was summoned, both of the transcendental brothers saw that everyone is enjoying this beautiful feast. Chaturvedha Shri Bhagavat Prasado Swadvana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sanghan. So Guru is happy when the devotees honor prasadam. Guru is happy. So Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya were very happy. Everyone was honoring so much prasadam there and enjoying their feast. So once they observed that scene, Nityananda Prabhu took his pot, he put his hand and took some morsels and stuffed it into the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reciprocated in the same way. He took some morsels and stuffed it into Nityananda Prabhu's mouth. That's how both transcendental brothers were enjoying the feast. So we see also here another lesson is that it is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts offering of person who chants 64 rounds, who is Lakpati. So once devotees read this statement and they went to Srila Prabhupada and they said, does that mean Lord Chaitanya is not accepting our offering because we just chant 16 rounds? He said that you just chant 16 rounds and follow the 4 regs. I will make sure that Lord Chaitanya accepts your offering. So this only a guru can say. This only an eternal associate, confidential associate of the Lord can say. So we can feed the Lord through Guru, by pleasing Guru, by taking assistance of Guru. So even when we do the deity worship, it's not that, we try to offer bhoga to Kṛṣṇa by our own selves. We take the permission of the Guru. We pray to the Guru that let me assist you in your service to the Supreme Lord. Let me do some service. You engage me in some service to the Lord. So you have to take the permission of the Guru. So without Guru, we cannot serve Kṛṣṇa. So if we want to serve Kṛṣṇa, we can serve through Guru. He will, and if Guru is pleased, Kṛṣṇa is pleased. So all our offerings will be accepted. So then, this happened. So when Lord Chaitanya came through meditation, not everybody could see. Some close associates, some fortunate Vaishnavas could actually observe Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come there because he was not physically supposed to be there. He was in Puri. So here, Nityananda Prabhu was walking amongst the people sitting in the festival, and he was doing this, feeding Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and joking with him. And so nobody could understand what Nityananda Prabhu is doing. Some people couldn't understand. Some people could observe. Some people were fortunate that that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. And then Lord Nityananda Prabhu sat with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and asked everyone, please chant the names of Hari very loudly. And immediately the chant began, Hari, Hari. And then the chanting grew louder and louder. When all the Vaishnavas were chanting the holy names, Hari, Hari, and eating, they remembered how Kṛṣṇa and Balram ate with their companions, the cowherd boys on the bank of the Yamuna. They were thinking that they are in Vrindavan. These are 2 transcendental brothers. They are their cowherd boys. This Ganges is not Ganges, but Yamuna. And we have Mother Yashoda would make curd rice for Kṛṣṇa for the lunch. And she would give 5 kinds of different pickles to Kṛṣṇa. And Kṛṣṇa would put on each finger and he would eat the yogurt rice and then lick one pickle. Then another morsel of yogurt rice and then lick another pickle. So like this, Mother Yashoda would make 5 different pickles for Kṛṣṇa, and she would get the rice in the morning, put milk over it, then and put little dollop of yogurt. So by the time Krishna eats the lunch, it will become yogurt rice. The milk would freshly become fresh curd, freshly, set curd for Krishna. So like that, 5 different pickles and yogurt rice. So they were feeling, oh, this is, non-different from Vrindavan. This is what the Gopas do in Krishna Leela. Now, Nityanand Prabhu in the meantime had also kept 4 small pots aside, and he planned to give it to Raghunath Goswami when everyone was done with the prasad. Now, this festival was going on, and the nearby people, nearby villages got to know, oh, there's a big festival going on here. So they arrived with their, they were merchants, they were shopkeepers. So they arrived with yogurt, some arrived with chipped rice, some arrived with condensed milk, some arrived with sugar. And Raghunath Goswami was like, come, bring it all here. And he purchased everything that the shopkeepers got. The guests were increasing like at an alarming rate. And he told them, now that you have come here, you also sit. Then he asked his associates to make the yogurt and chipped rice for them. And then he fed the shopkeepers also. Whatever they got, he fed the same products to them. You take this festival going on. So everybody was so astonished and happy. Then finally, Nityanand Prabhu finished his eating, and he washed his hands and mouth. Then he was garlanded, given sandalwood pulp, and then he went to Raghunath Das Goswami. Then he told him that now you take these 4 pots. And he was very pleased by Raghunath's service. It wasn't that Raghunath was thinking, oh, so much I've cooked, nothing will be remaining for me. Sometimes when we go to the yatras and devotees are like, they're serving and they're thinking, oh, I should put a little less so that something is left for me at the end. No, he was not thinking like that. Sometimes devotees would serve very less to the guests so that, at least they have some prasadam left for them at the end. Once Amoglila Prabhu he said he was in the serving, he was serving for the Janmashtami Prasad, and everything was over, nothing was left. And he was so hungry because of the fasting and the serving and so much service. And eventually, one devotee came. He was like, there's an extra plate. Does anyone need here? And the Moglila was like, yeah, I need it because I've been serving and nothing is left for me. So I should now get some prasad. So he was like, yeah, Lord arranges for his devotees for whatever is needed. If it means, Lord Chaitanya prays, if you embarrass me or you embrace me, I'm yours, Lord. So if Krishna wants us to feed us or he wants to keep us hungry, it's both his mercy, and we should try to serve first and then honor last. That should be the mood. It should not be that, oh, I am the authority here, I am the leader, I should sit here and everybody should serve me. No, that's not the thing. We should serve. The first class prasadam is that which is grown by the devotees, transported by the devotees, cooked by the devotees, served by the devotees. So for most of us, it's not possible to get grown by the devotees or transported by the devotees, but at least it should be cooked by the devotees and also served by the devotees. Serving is an act of love. It should not be like how we do a buffet, in the restaurants. Everybody takes their plate around and they just keep serving what they want. But it should be an act of love where we serve others first and feed them first and take pleasure in that. And we should take pleasure in serving the devotees. We should be eager that they're non-different from the Supreme Lord, because if they are pleased, Krishna is automatically pleased. So we have to understand that. So yeah, we have to offer also, it should be offered by the devotees also. So cooked by the devotees, offered by the devotees, and served by the devotees. So then Raghunath Das was given these 4 pots by Nityanand Prabhu, and then they went to Raghav Pandit's house, who had come to call Nityanand Prabhu that, oh, you didn't eat my offering. So Nityanand Prabhu went for the supper after that to Raghav Pandit's house, and there they chanted the names and they danced. And when Nityanand Prabhu danced, Lord Chaitanya came to observe it, because Nityananda Prabhu's dancing is also very, very beautiful. It's so beautiful that Lord Chaitanya comes to see it. So they danced, then they started, they took their place and sat down. Then Nityananda Prabhu again summoned Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the prasad, and Raghav Pandit was so happy. So it was Raghunath Das Goswami's great fortune. It is explained that lordships took his preparations, accepted his offerings, accepted his love and devotion, accepted his service. It was great um, mercy of both the lords upon Raghunath Das Goswami. So then different items were prepared by Raghav Pandit here at his home, and it was distributed to the devotees, given to Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would actually often come to Raghav Pandit's house to honor prasadam there, because as we said, she's Champak Lata from the spiritual world. And it almost seemed like Radharani would also come there to personally cook for the Lord, because it was nectar. And every day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would eat at the house of Raghav Pandit. Sometimes he would give Raghav Pandit the opportunity to see him, and sometimes Raghav Pandit could not see it. So it depends on the Supreme Lord when he wants to manifest himself, when he doesn't want to manifest himself. It's completely and totally the mercy of the Lord. So then devotees asked Raghunath Das Goswami to also sit and take prasadam with them. And Raghav Pandit said, no, he will take later. And so everybody was filled up to the brim. Everybody was garlanded. Everybody was again smeared with sandalwood pulp, was given betel nut, first to Lord Nityananda and then to the remaining devotees. And then when lordships were done, then it is so sweet. Raghav Pandit mercifully gave the remnants of the lordships to Raghunath Das Goswami. So we see that we are all what we are made of, the devotees' mercy. Without devotees' mercy, we cannot progress in Krishna consciousness. We cannot expect to break that hierarchy. The hierarchy is very important, and that Raghunath Das Goswami depicts again and again, that we have to be servant of the servant of the servant. We cannot just directly go to the Supreme Lord. So Raghav Pandit said to Raghunath, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has eaten this food. If you take his remnants, you will be released from the bondage of your family. So he's blessing that, because it's the earnest desire of Raghunath to cut off his family affection, cut off his family ties. So he said, now that Lord Chaitanya has tasted this food and you're receiving those remnants, you'll definitely, all your desires will be fulfilled very soon. So in the morning, the next day, Nityananda Prabhu sat down with his associates on the bank of the river Ganges. And, there Raghunath Das got the opportunity to serve Lord Nityananda's lotus feet. And through Raghav Pandit, he expressed his desire. So he said, I'm the lowest of men, the most sinful, fallen, and condemned. Nevertheless, I desire to attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like a dwarf who wants to catch the moon, I have tried my best many times, but I have never been successful. Every time I tried to go away and give up my home relationships, my father and mother unfortunately kept me bound. Tomara kripa vina keha chaitanya na paaye, tumi kripa kaile tanre adameha paaye. Ayogya mui nivedana karite kari bhaya, more chaitanya deha gosani hana sadaya. No one can attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without your mercy. But if you are merciful, even the lowest of men can attain shelter at his lotus feet. Although I am unfit and greatly afraid to submit this plea, I nevertheless request you, sir, to be specially merciful toward me by granting me shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So even Narottam Das Thakur prays for the mercy of Nityanand Prabhu. He also prays, Ar kabe nitai chande, karuna hoibe, samsara basana mor kabe tuchha pe. When will that day come when Lord Nityananda's causeless mercy is bestowed upon me so that my desire for material enjoyment becomes very insignificant? He also prays Nathan Das Thakur. He no nitai bine bhai, Radha Krishna paite nai, Drida kori dharani tar pai. See, we have to be begging for Nityananda's mercy, that until unless he is merciful, we cannot achieve the mercy of Radha Krishna. We cannot achieve the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We cannot cut off our material bondage because he is Guru. He can do this. He can cut off our affection. He can cut off our bondages, and we'll be free like a bird to fly towards the Supreme Lord. And so then after submitting his request to Nityanand Prabhu, Raghunath Das again got Nityanand's supreme causeless mercy, because Nityanand Prabhu again kept his lotus feet on his head, and he said, "My dear Raghunath Das, since you arranged the feast on the bank of the Ganges, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here just to show you his mercy. By his causeless mercy, he ate the chipped rice and milk. Then after seeing the dancing of the devotees, he took his supper. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Gaurhari came here personally to deliver you. Now rest assured that all the impediments meant for your bondage are gone. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept you and place you under the charge of his secretary, Swarup Damodar. You will thus become one of the most confidential internal servants and will attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being assured of all this, return to your own home very soon without impediments. You will attain shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." And then, very sweet, Lord Nityanand Prabhu asked all the devotees present there, all the devotees, he said, "Please bless this Raghunath Das Goswami so that he can quickly achieve the mercy of our worshipable Lord." And we again see whatever we are by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. You know, sometimes we become proud that, oh, I did this service, oh, I did that service. But we forget so many devotees have nurtured us along the way. We are not doing anything independently. Prabhupada has already done it. He has already set the standards. Every devotee has set the standards. And so many devotees are already working hard. And so many devotees have worked upon us to make us what we are. So you have to be very grateful and dependent on the mercy of the Lord. We cannot afford to reach the Lord directly. Just as so many times in South India Yatra, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would have visitors and they would say, "We are devotees of Kṛṣṇa." And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, "Okay, today I'm very busy. We'll see you some other day." And if somebody else would come in, they would say, I'm the devotee of Kṛṣṇa. And they would say, "Yes, we can talk." So like that, we have to understand the mood of the spiritual world. We cannot really cut off the hierarchy. We'll just read I'll just tell another beautiful pastime, which is very important. So once what happened was Srinivas Acharya was meditating in Vrindavan, and he's a manjari in the spiritual world. So he would just go into samadhi, and even though his body was seen physically outside our external senses, his mind, his soul was in the spiritual world doing service to Srimati Radharani. And once for many days, he actually didn't come out of his samadhi. He would usually go for some hours and he would come back. That was his usual routine. But once he didn't even come back. So the devotees got worried. It was like, what is this happening? Is he living? Is he not living? What is happening? Why is he not, acting normally anymore? So they called one of his disciples, very dear disciples. And then this disciple also went into samadhi with his guru. He's like, "Yeah, let me find out what is going on." And then he also went. And then he saw that actually in the spiritual world, the nose pin of Radharani is lost. And so everybody's searching for that nose pin. All the gopis are engaged, all the manjaris are engaged. They're all trying to find out, where is the nose pin? Where did that nose pin went? And finally, this Srinivas Acharya, who was in his spiritual form, found the nose pin. Now that nose pin, he could have given directly to Radharani. They were in the spiritual world. He's also close associate. He could have given, but no, he took that nose pin. He first gave to Rupa Goswami, who is Rupa Manjari in the spiritual world, the head of the Manjaris. He first gave to her, and then Rupa Manjari gave it to Lalita Sakhi, and then it went to Radharani. So we have to follow the hierarchy. Even in the spiritual world, we cannot be like we are independent. We just because we are in the association of Kṛṣṇa, or we are in the association of in the spiritual world, that doesn't mean that we break the hierarchy. The mood is servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. That is the mood, and we cannot afford to break it. So once what happened in our contemporary pastimes, that once His Holiness Radha Maharaj had this garland to offer to Prabhupada in New Vrindavan. So now he could, because he had the garland, he also had the opportunity to go and garland Prabhupada. But what he did was he gave it to one of his older god brothers, who probably was initiated before, who was probably there in the movement before him. So any devotee who is senior to us in spiritual life, or who are older to us, and especially spiritually mature, or anyone who is initiated before us, is actually considered our superior. It's just not the age, which of course we have to take care of. It is what the Vaishnavas do. But at the same time, we have to understand that somebody may get initiated at 18 years of age, 16 years of age. We have to consider them as our superiors, because they're spiritually more mature and advanced than us. So similarly, it's how Radhanath Maharaj gave that garland to his god brother, and god brother garlanded Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada smiled at Radhanath Maharaj, and he got to know that this is what he's supposed to do. This is what he cannot afford to break the hierarchy in the spiritual world, in the Vaishnav community. So once also another thing happened with me was that we were standing in Alachua, and I was in the line in such a sequence that I was supposed to get the Aarti flame first. And there was another Mataji besides me who was Srila Prabhupada's disciple. And this Mataji came with the lamp, and she skipped me and she gave it to the other Mataji. And I was like, oh no, what did I do wrong that she didn't give me the lamp? And suddenly I remembered from Vaishnava etiquette that actually the senior person is supposed to get the flame first. So because that Mataji is superior to me in all respects, so she got the flame first, and then I got the next. Of course, then we have to see the practicality of how much we can do. But the idea is when the Aarti flame comes, it should first go to the most spiritually senior person, and then to the rest of the devotees. Of course, we can keep the practical aspects in the mind, like where are they standing and how, all those things. But technically, we should try to give as much priority to the spiritually more mature person. And therefore, in our case, we should definitely give priority to Srila Prabhupada disciples everywhere. We should not consider, oh, they're just devotees like us, and we give them prasadam late, or we make them stand in the line. No, the idea is follow the Vaishnava etiquette, follow the Vaishnava culture. This is what is Vaishnava culture, where we access the mercy of devotees. So Raghunath Das Goswami had to come back to his home, and he made a plan to escape from that, and he was meditating on that day when he could escape from his home. So we are towards the end of the pastime. Usually, the Pani Hati is over, but we'll just end at the point where Raghunath Das Goswami actually ends up meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because that's the sweet way to end the pastime. So here Raghunath Das Goswami once had his guru come over his home, whose name was Yadanandana Acharya. Yadanandana Acharya was actually initiated by Advaita Acharya, and he had taken shelter of Vasudeva Datta. So he came to his house, even though he was, seemed like a family person. In the night he came, and Raghunath Das Goswami was sleeping outside on his Durga Mandap. And Yadunandanacharya, when he saw Yadunandanacharya, he went and offered his obeisances. And Yadunandanacharya said, Raghunath, there's a Brahmana who left his worship. I gave him the deity and he left the worship and he ran away. Can you convince him to come back and worship the deity? Because there's no other Brahmana. And Raghunath Das was like chit-chatting with his guru, and they, walking, and they left out of the gate of the house, and the guards were sleeping because it was nighttime. And everybody thought that, Yadunandanacharya is like a family guru, and he would return, Raghunath would come back. So they left the house, they went some steps ahead, and he told Yadunandanacharya, okay, I will do whatever I can do. I think you can go to your home. I will try to convince the Brahmana and then go back to the home. Then Yadunandanacharya said, yeah, okay, I will go to my home. You convince the Brahmana. So Raghunath Das thought, this is the best opportunity to escape. The guards are sleeping. Anyway, I'm away from the home. Guru is also gone. Nobody is seeing me. I shall run away. So he started running away into the forest, so that not from the main streets, because he thought he's so famous, people would, catch him and bring him home again. So he took the extreme route and he went into the forests. And that time, some devotees from Bengal were going to Jagannath Puri. So that party was led by Shivananda Singh. So when in the morning they saw that Raghunath Das is not there at home, they inquired from Yadunandanacharya, where is Raghunath? They said, he said, I sent him home. He was supposed to be home. They said, Raghunath is gone now. They said simultaneously in chorus that, oh no, Raghunath is gone. He's not home. And then his father sent a letter pleading Shivananda Singh, because he thought they're going to Jagannath Puri, so Raghunath must have gone with them. So he sent a letter pleading, please return my son. So when Shivananda Singh got this letter by servants, he said, he didn't come here. He's not here. So they ran back home. They told their master, he's not there, he's gone. Then he was like, oh no, we have lost our son. They became so dejected that Raghunath is gone. And Raghunath traveled for 12 days into the forest, from village to village, forest to forest. He didn't have much to eat. Sometimes he was able to cook. Sometimes he had milk the milkman gave. Sometimes he got some roots, herbs, fruits, etc. And out of the 12 days, he ate only for 3 days. And that's how he reached Jagannath Puri. And he approached the site where Lord Chaitanya was sitting. And he offered his obeisances from far distance. And the devotees, associates of Lord Chaitanya saw, and they said, oh, Raghunath is here. And Lord Chaitanya became so happy. He's like, Raghunath has come. And he went and embraced him. And he said, you have received the mercy of the devotees and of myself, that you've reached here. And he told Sarup Damodar, please accept him as your servant. Please accept him as your son and take care of him. He has not eaten, only 3 days he has eaten out of the 12 days. Feed him nicely, make him clean, groom him, and make sure that he eats well. So that's how the Lord expressed his love towards Raghunath Das Goswami. So again, we see, the hierarchy is being stressed. Sarup Damodar is actually Lalita Sakhi from the spiritual world. And Sarup Damodar is the closest associate of the Supreme Lord, because from his diary, Vrindavan Das Thakur has, compiled his book Chaitanya Bhagavat, and even Kṛṣṇa Das Kaviraj Goswami took the notes of Sarup Damodar and documented whatever Lord Chaitanya has enacted the pastimes on this planet. So he's very, very a close confidential associate, and Raghunath was given to be under his care, not directly under the care of Lord Chaitanya. So we are always supposed to be under the shelter of some devotee who can take care of us, who can guide us of how to lead our spiritual life and how we can please the Supreme Lord. So from that day onwards, actually, Raghunath Das Goswami was known as Swarupera Raghu, because there were already some Raghunaths in the party. So Lord Chaitanya said, from this day on, he will be known as Swarupera Raghu, that he belongs to Swarup Damodar. So that's how Raghunath Das Goswami was restored to health, and once he was restored to health, he went to Puri. He depicted extreme renunciation. He was begging alms and collecting, and Lord Chaitanya was so pleased by this act of Raghunath that he was so renounced. His father sent money, like when he got to know his son is begging alms and eating. He sent money by the servants. He rejected, like, no, I don't want, I just want to beg and eat. So this is what Lord Chaitanya glorified, that one who can control their tongue, one who can always chant Hare Krishna and are not attracted by fanciful preparations, is actually advanced, is actually mature. And after some time, Raghunath Das would not even beg. He would just collect the remnants, the very leftover foodstuffs that was thrown out of the Puri temple gate. He would pick up and eat. And afterwards, he became so renounced that he was only taking a very putrefied food, left by the cows. So he was so renounced. And Lord Chaitanya was so pleased. This is the standard of renunciation. This is what a renunciate is supposed to do. Depend on Krishna and nothing else and no one else. That is real renunciation. That only Krishna is my master. Krishna will protect me. Krishna will maintain me. Krishna is my everything. That is real renunciation. And having that faith and chanting Hare Krishna at all times is real renunciation. And then eventually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so pleased that he offered beautiful Govardhan Shila to Raghunath Das Goswami. And he said, this is non-different from Krishna. Always worship him very nicely. And he also gave a Gunja Mala, which is beads of red and black beads, which is found in the spiritual world. Radharani makes for Krishna. So that Gunja beads to Raghunath Das Goswami was gifted by Lord Chaitanya and told that this is non-different from Radharani. And so Raghunath Das Goswami thought to himself that this is how, through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, I have achieved the service to Shri Radha and Krishna. As Raghunath Das Goswami would often write in his prayers, Shri Gandharvika Giridhari, that this is my worshipable lordships, and my Lord Lord Chaitanya has given me this beautiful worship and entrusted me with this worship. So we conclude here. Any questions, any comments before we conclude for the day? Any additions, corrections?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Very beautiful descriptions and elaborate as well. Probably I don't have to read anymore. I knew here there's something, but today I got the whole idea. Mataji, one question is that you told that when Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya Prabhu were exchanging foods to another mouths, so some devotees there or whoever present, they saw the Nityananda Prabhu, but they could not see the Krishna, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are the same thing. Krishna and Balaram, they are the Supreme Personal Godhead. If someone can see the Nityananda Prabhu, why they cannot see the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Because they are all elevated souls. They are the very lucky persons who are present there and who come too close to Krishna. Even the Jagai Madai, they are also elevated souls. They are enacting the roles, but they are actually elevated souls. That's why they could see or get the personal touch. How it happens? Can you explain?
Yeah, so Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that at Raghav Pandit's home, it's actually mercy of the Lord. Sometimes he would be manifested to Raghav Pandit. He would come every day to eat prasadam there. Sometimes Raghav Pandit could see, and sometimes he could not. And then he describes that it's actually mercy of the Lord. Sometimes he's manifest, sometimes he's not. So we should consider it as Lord's independent will, he said. Lord is independent. Whenever he desires, he will be seen. Whenever he does not desire, he will not be seen. That's how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat, very beautifully explained Mataji. Yeah, as Prabhuji said, I did not, in fact, know a lot of things. So with your mercy today, I was able to understand, not fully, but at least bits and pieces. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. I always heard of PANI HATI, but I never knew what it was all about or anything. So today you brought some light and I understand a little about it. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, that was a really good discussion.
What did you like?
Thank you. Yes, Mataji, I liked it a lot. I learned a lot of new things.
Yeah, what was the point that you liked?
That you should always treat people nicely when they come to your house.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's very important.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Very nice class, Mataji. Thank you so much. Mataji, I like how you explain the Chida when Nityananda Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Das Goswami Maharaj and other associates were honoring the prasadam, and that was, they were remembering about Krishna's pastime with the gopis. So very nicely explained, Mataji. And another also the other point you described about Vaishnava etiquette, that's what very nicely you explained, and it's not depends upon the age, but it depends upon the how a devotee is advanced in Krishna consciousness. So I learned this one very well, Mataji, from your talk today. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice class. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, some of the devotees are born into devotee families. They're really advanced. I remember once my dear friend's baby, I think Annaprashan was going on or something, name giving was there. Bhakti Prem Maharaj was there, and he said that we should always remember that they are actually advanced devotees than us. Even though they appear like children, and we are supposed to take care of them, they're more advanced than us.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, all the worshipable devotees, for your kind association. So we will pause here. Raghavas Goswami ki jai, Shri PANI HATI CIDA DAHI, Shri PANI HATI CIDA DAHI UTSAV ki jai, Shri PANI HATI UTSAV ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Thank you so much.
Prabhuji, your internet connection has some problem. Your voice is not clear, Prabhuji.
Pause here. Sorry.
Prabhuji, I think your laptop, you have to change your laptop, Prabhuji.
It might sound like
It wants
It's
only
not.
Mataji to talk more today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.